BARK Radio.
What's good, everybody? It's Robo from Allbar, back with another video, and today I'm bringing you my NFL Week 8 picks. I'm picking every game, both straight up and against the spread, with a score prediction, and keeping track of my weekly and yearly results in the process. It's been a great year so far, but before we get into the Week 8 picks, let's go ahead and recap the Week 7 results. Last week we had a huge week going 12-2 on winners, and again went positive against the spread going 9-5. So another step forward in the green for the season record, which is starting to look really great. This week's matchups are pretty favorite heavy, which can be tough, but I'm hoping to stay rolling throughout the year. So without further ado, let's go ahead and get started with Sunday's matchups. We'll start Sunday with the Jets at the Bengals. The Bengals have looked a lot better offensively with Flacco the past 2 weeks, while the defense continues to improve by generating pressure and forcing turnovers. The Jets, on the other hand, enter this game still winless after losing at home to the Panthers. The offensive line has been one of the worst in the league, and the quarterback situation is a nightmare between both Fields and Taylor, who are both banged up as well. It looks like Taylor's out officially, so Fields should start, but they've also got a banged up Breece Hall and a banged up receiving core. So this offense is just in a dark spot that I don't see many points coming from. I think we see a big day out of Trey Hendrickson. The Bengals should win this game in the trenches and score enough with Flacco at the helm again, and they're still alive within the AFC playoff picture as they hope to get Burrow back later on in the season, so motivation is still there as well. The Jets should remain winless this week without too much of a sweat. I'm going to take Cincinnati 27-14. Next is the Bears at the Ravens. Baltimore comes into this matchup in absolute desperation, but the Bears have looked a lot better recently, so this should be a pretty good game. Lamar Jackson's return would have been huge and given the Ravens offense a major spark, but the whole team has been getting healthier finally, and I think this is a pretty strong spot to get back into the playoff race in the AFC North regardless. Odds-wise, they still sit at the top in projections, and you can never really count out Lamar and Henry when they're healthy. Chicago's defense has been pretty solid, though. They're getting pressure and forcing teams to work for points. The Ravens have not done a great job of protecting the football either, so I think the Bears will have opportunities to hang around in this game. But they have several injuries in the secondary, which is going to cost them here. And at home, I think the Ravens play with some real desperation here, with basically the entire season on the line this week. I'm going to go with the Ravens 24-20. Atlanta hosts Miami in what should be a big opportunity for the Falcons to stay alive early on in the NFC South race. They've got two tough matchups with the Patriots and Colts coming up, so this is pretty much a must-win game against a Dolphins team that's been an absolute disaster this season and just got spanked by the Browns. Michael Penix is likely out this week, so Kirk Cousins will step in and potentially make a case as a trade candidate this week. And he obviously can benefit from an unbelievable playmaker in Bijan Robinson, as well as both Drake London and Kyle Pitts. The Falcons' defense has improved a ton this season as well. They've climbed up into one of the better pass rush defenses in the league and have done really well against the pass in general. Those numbers probably get even better this week against the Dolphins' offense that's been dreadful all season long. Miami still has speed and creativity with Achane and Waddle, but Tua has been terrible. Atlanta has no reason to not dominate this game with the advantage they have on both sides at home. I'll take them to win and cover here, 27-17. Buffalo is on the road this week at the Panthers, who will be without Bryce Young and starting Andy Dalton this week. Obviously, Dalton is an NFL vet and can play, but I just have no faith in this Panthers team beating a struggling Bills team that needs to bounce back after the bye here without their true leader in Bryce Young. Josh Allen has been sharp this year despite the couple losses, and the Bills' defense has struggled but was banged up, and it's pretty much a dream matchup this week against a bad offensive line and a backup quarterback. Even if Carolina puts together good drives, I think they'll struggle in the red zone and struggle to protect Dalton in the pocket. Defensively, the Panthers have a solid young pieces, but Buffalo should be ready to roll off the bye, and Josh Allen is virtually unstoppable. I've got faith he'll carve up this defense eventually, and it'll lead to a big win on the road. I'll go 28-13 for a final. Next is the Niners at the Texans. Outside of last season, San Francisco has been one of the league's best road teams over the past several years, and again this year already has 3 road wins, including a couple upsets. Purdy and Pearsall are out again, but Mac Jones continues to manage games effectively, and he can continue to lean on Christian McCaffrey and now George Kittle back in the lineup, who should have a better day than last week for sure. Houston's defense is absolutely legit, but the offense has been absolutely terrible around CJ Stroud and Nico Collins. The offensive line remains terrible, which is the root cause of most of the issues, and this Niners defense still can provide some pressure despite all the injuries they're dealing with and disrupt this offense, especially with Nico Collins likely to miss this game as well. It just adds insult to injury for the Texans offense, and I think this is a very winnable game on the road for the Niners, who are still eyeing good playoff positioning. I'm going to roll San Francisco on the road in an upset, 23-20. The Eagles get their rematch with the Giants this week at home in Philly, after finally a strong bounce-back performance on the road last week in Minnesota. The Giants have just found ways to hang around against strong opponents thanks to a great defense that blitzes a ton with a lot of success and can force turnovers. Injuries in the New York secondary could hurt their chances to limit Devontae Smith this week though, but A.J. Brown is out for this game, and their defensive front should still cause pressure on Hurts. Philly's defense has been vulnerable at times this season, which the Giants could take advantage of with such a gritty runner in Cam Scatterbo, as well as Jackson Dart really getting into a groove. That collapse last week against the Broncos definitely could blow the vibe, but I just think higher this team right now. I think it'll have the reverse effect and motivate them even more against a divisional opponent they've already beaten. So this is going to be a tight game in my opinion, but I do think the Eagles get their revenge and take this one 27-24. Next, we've got the Browns at the Patriots. New England definitely has proven to be a legitimate team to me, winning 4 straight games and 3 in a row on the road, including an upset over the Bills. Sure, I don't think they're a contender by any means, but a playoff threat in the AFC is absolutely reasonable. I like where Mike Vrabel's taking his team, both scheme-wise and just off of vibes. The Patriots are just a fun team to watch to me, and Drake May continues to take steps towards stardom. Cleveland definitely brings a challenge this week, as their defense is incredible, largely in part to that D-line, but the entire unit's been balling and getting even better now with the addition of Tyson Campbell. Against the Patriots defense, though, the Browns are going to have to establish the run early to stay competitive. This defense can absolutely shut down the Browns' offense, and I trust Drake May to eventually find some points on the defense through the air. I just think this Patriots team is going to be super eager to be back at home after such a strong road stretch. The building should be rocking, so I don't mind laying the points here. Give me the Pats, 23-14. We've got an NFC South matchup between the Bucs and the Saints from New Orleans. Tampa's offense has been outstanding this year, but the injuries are still stacking up now with Evans out again and still missing Godwin and Bucky. Baker Mayfield had a terrible day last week against the Lions, but despite that, he's still been productive this season. New Orleans' defense can be pretty physical and has slowed down some quality teams this year, especially at home. The Saints' issue has been consistency on offense, where although I've liked Rattler's play, it's been a little inconsistent and he doesn't have too much to help out there. Tampa Bay's defensive front will look to control the line of scrimmage and create turnovers to win this game, but I just don't love the spot on the road with all the injuries they have still. New Orleans can score some points and get a few stops to make it a tight game. I'll take the Bucs to edge it out though, 20-17. The Colts have a divisional game this week as they host the Titans. This Titans team is obviously terrible, but they hung around a bit with New England last week before a late collapse. And divisional games are always a bit tougher than others because of the familiarity with the opponent and more being on the line. The Colts have been so efficient offensively this season. Jonathan Taylor's been absolutely incredible, and as has Daniel Jones. I really think this Colts team is a wagon this regular season and just won't stop winning. However, this spread up over 2 touchdowns is definitely scary. We've seen it several times this year where the big favorite couldn't cover against a divisional opponent even at home. I think the Titans' defensive front will be formidable enough to at least get a few stops this game, so offensively they just need to put together a couple good drives to get some points, and they can hang around for a cover. But like I said, the Colts aren't going to be losing this one at home. I'm going to take them to pick up the win, but 14.5 is just a little bit too high for me to take. I'm thinking it gets right around that number though. I'll go 30-17 for a final in Indianapolis. The Broncos made a miracle comeback last week to knock off the Giants, and now are at home taking on the Dallas Cowboys. I think this could be one of the best matchups of the week, an incredibly good offense up against an elite defense. The Broncos have shown a ton of resilience, and that defense is incredible at rushing the passer and forcing tough throws into tight coverage. But Dallas brings an explosive offense led by Dak Prescott, CeeDee Lamb, and George Pickens. They haven't been too great on the road, but they've dealt with some injuries this year, and I just don't know how well the Broncos show up to play after such an emotional comeback win last week. This Dallas offense is going to be a challenge for Denver, and I think we've seen this one go down to the wire. And I just have a feeling, after last week's heroics, the Broncos just come out way too flat again, and Dallas comes away with a road upset with an elite offense. 27-24. The Steelers host the Packers Sunday night as Aaron Rodgers takes on his former team. Pittsburgh's defense has looked a lot better lately to me, especially with getting pressure. Green Bay, meanwhile, has struggled a bit with offensive consistency. The young receivers have a lot of talent, but still have some inconsistency with Love in the passing game, and the offensive line has not done the greatest job. I think Pittsburgh's defensive line with TJ Watt could be the difference in this game. I know Rodgers is going to show up in prime time against his former Packers team, especially with this one being in Pittsburgh. That building's going to be rocking, and I just don't know how much I can trust the Packers offense to score on the road in this spot. If it comes down to it, I just trust the Steelers defense and Aaron Rodgers to make the winning plays on either end of the field. So give me the Steelers as a home dog this week, 23-20. Our Monday night matchup this week is not a great one. It's the Chiefs at home hosting the banged up Washington Commanders. No Jaden Daniels this week, so it'll be Marcus Mariota, but on the bright side, he will have both Terry McLaurin and Deebo Samuel at his disposal as both return from injury this week. However, up against this Kansas City defense, I don't love the matchup at all for either guy. I think this offense will find points here and there, but they just will not be able to keep up with the Chiefs in my opinion. That offense is one of the best in the entire league. Patrick Mahomes is just unbelievable and will continue to show up on primetime and show out. He's got the full arsenal now of Rashee Rice, Xavier Worthy, Hollywood Brown, and Travis Kelce to work with, up against a rough Commanders defense as well. And on the other end, the Chiefs' defense has become a real strength. They shut down the Lions a couple weeks ago and just absolutely blanked the Raiders last week. This is not a game I see the Chiefs are losing, and without Jaden Daniels, I'd be surprised if the Commanders were competitive for much longer than a half or so. So I'll take the points with the Chiefs as well, 34-21. That's it for my Week 8 picks. Let me know your thoughts on any of these games down in the comments below. As always, thanks for watching. Feel free to like and subscribe if you haven't already, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Peace.
BARK Radio.